wine.com or 818-865-0605. PM show nationwide, coast to coast on CRN Digital Talk Radio. I'm Michael Horn. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Fred Dreyer edition. And so, Fred, this story comes out. Actually, an internet note came through that in Dallas, the city of Dallas passed an ordinance stating that if a driver is pulled over by law enforcement and is not able to provide proof of insurance, the car is towed. And then to retrieve your car after it's impounded, a person must show proof of insurance to have the car released. So it's made it kind of easy for the city of Dallas to remove uninsured cars. Now, shortly after this no insurance ordinance was passed, the Dallas impound lots began to fill up. They were full after only 9 days, with 80+% of the impounded cars driven by illegal people. Not only must they provide proof of insurance to have their car released, they have to pay the cost of the tow, a $350 fine, and $20 for every day their car is kept in the lot. However, on the other side of the coin, 80% of the impound cars driven by illegals, accident rates have gone down. Dallas's solution gets uninsured drivers off the road without making them show proof of nationality. And still, this is working for them because they're doing it by proof of insurance.
Well, there's several states out there. Oklahoma's one of them. Their legislation passed to defund anything to do with illegal aliens, and they vacated that state. And there's a lot of states now taking it upon themselves. Arizona's one. We got to get behind Jan Brewer,
the governor.
If we can only get rid of John McCain, if he could only go on a camping trip south of the border one day and never come back, it would be wonderful.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, just get rid of this guy, honest to God.
Well, he's the left of center neocons you're talking about.
Everything that America railed against last November. He was the poster child for why the Tea Party is so aggravated and hyperventilating over the fact that the Republican Party is not represented. But there are states out there who are starting to get wise and starting to handle this immigration thing in a lot of different ways, and that's exactly what they should be doing. And that's just not a politic. Once again, everything has been politicized. Everything has been put into a uniform to where if you do one thing, that means you're this. If you don't do this, that means you don't agree with the left. You know, it's interesting. I heard on the news today that the left is making up all the rules. They control the language, and they're the ones that are dictating to people. They just make stuff up and come down and say, these are the new rules now. You can't say that. You can't think that way. You can't disagree with this. And if you don't do that, then we're going to punish you.
You can't use light bulbs. You can't use the old-fashioned light bulbs anymore. They're outlawed January of next year. The McDonald's company now is succumbing to pressure where they're cutting down the French fries in half because the kids are too fat. Why don't they just have parents that say, hey, kids, don't eat the French fries or don't order that. We're going to have a sandwich instead.
Well, the government
wants to tell you exactly what
the government knows better. And Michelle Obama's ass is not getting smaller. It's getting wider. She should shut her trap and stop eating the crap she's eating at 12 o'clock at night and worrying about the fact that she may this may be the last opportunity for her to hit the kitchen.
All right, White House Press Secretary Jay Carney had a comment today.
The purpose of putting forward a plan on paper, our interest in this has been to get a compromise, to get a deal. It has not been to politically position ourselves, say, with things that appeal to our base, maybe pieces of legislation that we know can't pass, but it'll be greeted warmly by certain constituencies. Our goal, and the reason why the negotiations have been conducted the way they have been conducted, is because we want a result.
This guy wants to compromise a subject matter that cannot be compromised. There's only one answer, and that is to cut, cap, and balance. That is the answer. Anything short of that is not the answer. 2 and 2 is not 5. It's close, but it's not 4. And so this guy here is an apparatchik of the left. He doesn't have an opinion. He's promoting a politic. And that the people listen to this idiot is beyond me.
All right, Rand Paul, Senator, Republican senator from Kentucky.
Well, the thing is that both of these plans will add somewhere between $7 to $8 trillion over 10 years. The real disservice to the American people is they need to be honest about their accounting up here. None of these cuts spending, none of these cuts the deficit. Both plans will add $7 to $8 trillion. I don't think our country can withstand that kind of addition of new debt.
Well, there it is. It's common sense.
Finally, something that's common
math.
sense.
That's math. It's math. It's common sense. He's not promoting a politic. That's common sense.
All right, Rand Paul continues.
You remember how we had this debate in the spring? We started out with $100 billion. We prorated to $60 billion. We compromised to $38 billion. And then we added it up with the CBO, and it was $300 million. That's what's going to happen to this plan. The other thing is the $1 trillion is over 10 years, but it's against a baseline that increases spending by $45 trillion. It really is only reducing the proposed increases. It never cuts spending, never cuts debt, and it will pile on $7 to $8 trillion over 10 years.
This is, not only is that true, but the stupidity to even have it in the circle of discussion is ineffable. You're going to have a panel of 6 politicians, 3 Democrats, 3
panel
Republicans,
of 6. That's right.
And they're going to promise in the future to start cutting. No, they're not. No, they're not. This is a disaster, and I can't imagine anybody believing that. I honestly, but if anybody can't, it's the Republican Party.
Well, but the Republican senator from Kentucky, Rand Paul, said that the whole scare tactic is still there.
At any point in time over the last 6 months, the president could have simply said, I will not default on the interest. I will pay it. We bring in $200 billion a month. The interest payments are about $20 billion. There's no excuse for not paying the interest. There's no excuse for scaring seniors, as the president's been doing. He should take Social Security checks off the table. He should also take the salaries of our soldiers off the table. And we met this morning, leaders in the House and Senate, conservative leaders, and we introduced legislation that will force the president to pay the interest, pay the Social Security checks, and to pay the soldier's salary.
Now, this is sound thinking. You must allow someone like Rand Paul to speak to the American people on an everyday basis and let him tell you what's going on.
But you know,
not let the news services.
The president is telling you, he's scaring our leader of the country is scaring us, saying everything's going to fall apart.
Every time the president opens his trap, it should be counterbalanced with Rand Paul telling the truth.
1-800-336-2225, 800-336-2225. Fred Dreyer is here. It's the PM Show, Fred Dreyer edition. Give us a call, 800-336-2225. Email us, Fred Dreyer at FDreyer@crni.net.